Hello, Ralph Davella back. Today we're going to talk about Carmine Caruso and the intervals. So there's always a lot of talk about those interval studies. So I kind of like to clear up why he used to give them to his students, and why they worked and how they worked. A lot of times when he would give these interval studies, he would just give them and explain to you how you're supposed to play them, and then you play them, and didn't really tell you how they actually worked for you, because sometimes he used to tell me that if you explained to how they worked, that students would sometimes try to force it to work that way, and forcing it didn't work, so it had to come natural. But I used to talk to him a lot about how they worked and why they worked. So today I'd like to show you the intervals. I'm not going to play them. If you want to play them or play along with me, you can go back to lesson 2, maybe even lesson 3, but definitely lesson 2. And I talk a lot about the intervals there. But today I want to talk about, get rid of some of the myths about playing them until you can't play them no more, until you get tired. That's not what it's all about. So let me explain to you the purpose of the intervals. Alright, so these are the intervals. There's seconds, thirds, fourths, all the ways up to octaves. And so let's just talk about, for instance, the fourths. Show them to you real quick. I'm going to put them up, all of them up on the screen in a minute. This way, in case you want them, look at them, or you want to copy them down, whatever you want to do. Right, so now he used to explain to you how the way you're supposed to play them. For instance, tapping your foot, tongue in the first note, and then the next 2 notes are slurred, and you leave it on the whole time. You rest 4 beats. You don't take it off. However you have your mouth formed in the corner of your mouth, not that you need to be real tight or anything, but you don't relax them. However it is, you keep it that way. So that's like a strengthening exercise for throughout the whole set of intervals. First I want to tell you what these intervals do for you. Well, number 1, they give you more endurance, they give you strength, they give you range, they give you flexibility, even though it may not sound like they do, but when you start getting into the 7ths and the major 7ths and the octaves, you'll see why it gives you flexibility. Now, the thing that he didn't tell students right away, a lot of times the more advanced students, he would explain it to them, is, for instance, if you're playing fourths and you're playing from the G to the C back down to the G. In order to get from that G to the C back down to the G, there's a lot of things happening. Movement of the trumpet, movement of the left hand, movement of the right hand, movement of the jaw, the lips, every tongue. And probably one of the most important things is the movement of the lips. So in order to get from a G to a C, or the higher G to the higher C, or the extreme G to the double high G, your lips form a little different shape as you go from one note to another. Even though sometimes you might not think so, they do. And that's why what happens on those intervals as you're going up, let's say you're getting from the G on the staff to the high G, and it's not coming out correct at that point. The idea is not just that you play till they don't come out anymore. The reason that you're playing to that point where you don't hear much, or maybe on the high C you just hear maybe air come out. Because what's happening is your lips are trying to form a shape for that high G to come out, or the high C to come out. So without trying to do it, which a lot of times will mess your embouchure up bad, if you start to try to move things, move this around, move that around. So that's why you put it on, and you didn't move the whole exercise. So when you get up to, like, say, from the high G to the high C, and if you feel at that point You take it off, you rest. You can rest 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Put it back on, and you continue from that point. Then maybe you get up to the high E above the staff, and maybe just air is coming out. But you try to blow through that. And the reason you're blowing through that is not to fatigue yourself. It's to give your lips a chance to start forming that shape that it needs, and your embouchure to get, to form the shape that it needs to get that note. So these are some of the main reasons for doing that, and I'm trying to clarify that it's not just using pressure and fatiguing yourself. That's not the point. All right, let me put these intervals up on the screen for you, and you can get a look at them. So in order, I'm going to show you all the different intervals. I'll leave them up for like 10 seconds. You can like either stop the video and copy them down if you like. So that's the seconds. These are the thirds, and we did these in progression. But after you do them all, you can just pick the ones you like to do or you want to do. Try different ones on different days. That's the thirds. Fourths. Interval of the fifth. Sixth. Now on the seventh, we did the dominant seven and the major seven both. So this would be the dominant seven. And that's the major sevens. And it teaches you how to get these intervals into your head too. Which if you don't have them in your head, then it's really hard to hit when you're playing intervals that are that far apart. But once you get them into your head, it helps a lot. Especially in the high octave, in the high range. And these are the octaves. That's generally as far as he would go with anyone. But I did see him give a couple of the professional players, even ninths to try and do. So getting these intervals in your head, how the seconds, thirds, fourths, dominant seven, major seventh, octaves all sound with each note going up is important, especially in a high register. If it's not in your head how like a high A is supposed to sound, it's almost impossible for it to come out on a trumpet. So it's important. That's another one of the reasons he did these intervals. So you get these intervals to everyone, professional players, famous players, players that made record, great players, symphony players, jazz, everybody. Because I used to stay there a lot and I would watch them give these lessons. So I just wanted to talk about those intervals and try to clear up some of the myths about playing them till you hurt yourself and you couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't the idea. The idea was that your embouchure would fall in place to get these higher notes. That's one of the reasons he held them out. He would also give them out just to tell you soft, loud, soft, and loud, soft, loud. So for instance, on the seconds, let me show you. It would put you start a piano, and then in the middle of that A, you get as loud as you possibly can, and then back down to the G, and if you get as soft as you possibly can. So that would be soft, loud, soft, and then loud, soft, loud, soft, loud. You start off as loud as possible, distorted probably if you can get it that loud, down to soft as possible, back up to loud as possible, and in those 12 beats. The reason for that, again, is because when you're playing soft to loud and loud to soft, your lips have to hold a certain shape. So then as you're going up and you're playing soft, loud, soft, it gets to be complicated. So the timing and coordination of all the muscles surrounding the lips, your hands, left hand, right hand, your tongue, everything, lips, all have to coordinate. So it sounds like a simple exercise, but one of the most important exercises you can do. So if I was you, I would suggest doing the intervals. You don't have to do them every day. You don't have to do 5 or 6 of them. You could just pick one, a second, a fifth, or so, whatever you want to do that day. A soft, loud, soft, or a loud, soft, loud. And at least do them once or twice or 3 times a week in your daily practices. And that'll keep you, however strong of a trumpet player you are, that'll keep you that way. or make you even stronger. So I hope you liked this presentation I made of why Carmine Caruso used to give his students these interval lessons. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.